We'll call the Brown House Ad-Hoc Committee to order. I'll be starting the meeting tonight, and then when we get to it, we'll be electing chairman and vice chairman. I've been told by our attorney that since we revamped everything, we've got to do it that way. So we don't want to do anything he don't like, I guess. All right. Call the meeting to order. Invocation. Mr. Jones, you want to open us up in a word of prayer, please?
Sure. Dear Jesus, thank you for this day. Lord, pray that you just watch over those that are still maybe on their way and those that are on their way home. Lord, it's a mess out there, and pray that you just take care of them. Lord, I pray for this meeting, that you just help all ideas to come together for the good of this house, to help us to be efficient with the taxpayer money and to be able to get this long-awaited project underway. Lord, help us to be good and faithful servants to the taxpayers and to you, Lord. Amen.
Approval of the agenda.
Motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Approval of the minutes.
So moved.
This is the last minutes from the last ad hoc, so we have a motion. Do we have a second? Second. We don't have anybody here taking the minutes, do we?
We do, Jessica.
Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize.
You can
I
sit up
see
here if
that.
you
You
want
can
to.
sit up here if you'd like.
Well, there were so many people on I didn't know if there was.
Well, there's 12 seats and 11 members, and Mr. Klein is here. Recognition of the public, Deanna
We
Stinson.
got to vote on the minutes.
I'm sorry. Motion in favor. We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay.
I'm
Ms.
gonna-
Stinson.
I want to abstain. I was not a part of the committee.
Hello, I'm Diane Stinson at 1011 Monroe Drive, Cascade Springs. I'm here just hoping that we can move along with this project and get this house preserved and taken care of like it should have been 8 years ago. I hope everybody can work together and do what needs to be done.
Thank you. Thank you. Ms. Stewart's here also.
Me?
No, wait a minute. I was telling her Ms. Stewart's here. Now you can come up. Come on. Ms. McClard.
Hello. Jim Jones.
Hello, my name is Cynthia McClard. I live at 102 Tioga Trail, Hendersonville, Tennessee. And this is pretty much going to be the same synopsis that I said last month. Anyway, I wanted to show you a picture of William and Martha Brown. This is the Brown house. If anybody needs to see it, can you see it, David?
That's it.
Okay.
It's also on the back page of this, a nice color if you'd like to have it.
Oh, one step above me. This is the house that it looks like when Mr. Brown passed away. And it was well taken care of. Keep in mind that the house was built in 1790. The brick that you see on the front of the house is an overlay of brick. This is the house that looks like today. And as you can tell from the picture, we live right next to the school. We live right next to the elementary school, and I walk a lot. Today you can't even see the house because of the trees. Fence is falling down. It's been boarded up. I don't know if anybody's tried to break into the house. I don't know, but it's really pathetic, especially to know that Mr. Brown's been gone now for over 8 years and nothing's been done. It's a shame. It's really a shame. This is the beauty underneath the brick. Can you see that? Anyway, so what I have here, I've done some research. I always do research. I'm a researcher. So the warranty deed was dated June the 13th, 2015. The actual will was written October the 1st, 2015. It was to take effect post-death. The codicil, which I'm going to read today, which I've read a million times. B1, the codicil was written March the 16th, 2016. Mr. Brown's death, he deceased February the 16th of 2017. So this is the audit trail of the deed, the will, the codicil, and Mr. Brown's death. And he has now been dead, or deceased, I'm sorry, for going on 9 years, and has never been touched. The codicil reads, and let me put on my specs because I'm old. And this is Mr. Brown. He's modifying his last will and testament, replacing it with the entirety of the following. B1, I specifically bequeath to Sumner County, Tennessee, B County, the cash sum of $500,000 to establish and maintain a public park located at 212 Hunters Lane, Hendersonville, Tennessee, with the historic home currently situated thereon being permanently maintained by the county as the park centerpiece. The park shall be known as the William and Martha Brown Park. This bequest shall be a restricted fund held by the county in a separate account and used solely for the purposes of the establishment, promotion, ongoing support, and maintenance of the William and Martha Brown Park. So that's about all I have on the William and Martha Brown Park. But let me ask y'all something. I get emotional every time I talk about this, because this should have been done 8 years ago. It hasn't been touched. Not touched. The brush hasn't been done. The trees haven't been done. Fence hasn't been done. Anything that the school maintenance can get involved in involves all of that. They can take care of the trees. They can take care of the brush. They can cut the grass, for peace sakes. They can clean up the glass that's all in the yard. And this is them. This is who we're respecting. What if it was your mom and dad? What if this, and look at me, every single one of you, look at me. What if this was your mom and dad? What would you do? And they did all this, and they gave everything to the county. What would you do if it was your mom and your dad? And I can't say, I just, like I said, I'm sorry. I get emotional. I'm usually not emotional. And maybe it's because I had about 50 surgeries today. So I'm running on fumes. But I don't know. If it's my mom is still living. And she'll be 100 years old in July. And my sisters and I, we have respected her every wish. And I keep thinking, if this was my mom and dad, why have they treated you so bad, Mr. Brown? Why? I don't understand it. It should have been done. That should have been done. The grass should have been cut. The brush should have been cut. The fence should have been repaired. There should be no glass. They're doing things in Sumner County all the time. His house could be y'all's legacy. Every single one of you that are sitting here tonight, this is your chance. This is your chance right now to have this house be part of your legacy.
Thank you.
And just please, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
You're welcome. That's all I have.
Kevin.
Kevin Baker, 424 A.B. Wade Road. I think if that was my parents and they gave $8 million to Sumner County and didn't give a penny to me, I'd be pissed. But equally, if you reverse that whole thing, if they then gave the $8 million to Sumner County and we didn't do diligence with it as they wanted, I'd be pissed. But this is our opportunity, folks. You know, for a year now, we've been fighting back and forth. I was hoping that the mayor would be here and the director of schools would be here because there seems to be tension between these groups. We need to put that aside. There's a piece of history, of Sumner County history, that ties back to the American Revolution that needs to be preserved. We have an opportunity here to all work together. We've got some horsepower with the mayor's office and the director of schools and the brain trust that's sitting here today, as well as members of the community that are willing to help. We need to put this together and put this to bed and make this something that we can all be proud of years to come, that our children can be proud of. So if Sumner County has a point on the map, they were part of the effort that with the American Revolution, that the Latimer family moved here. They chose this for a reason. We need to preserve that. And I was really hoping that the mayor and the director of schools would be here because they need to hear this. Time to put aside all the issues. Let's work together. Okay, this could be a great place to start. I have to compliment the chairman of the General Operations Committee for putting this back on the agenda to get this team together and get all the original members as well as the new members on here, and Commissioner Schmidt who talked to my wife and basically came up with the idea of putting the two groups together. Let's just get it done. Every minute that we wait, the house is going to fall apart. Is that the legacy we want to leave? A man that left $8 million to our schools? I don't know about you, but $8 million is a big amount of money. I don't think anybody's ever donated that much of money to Sumner County. So maybe somebody else knows. But that's pretty impressive. Least we can do is uphold the man's last wishes. That's all I have to say. Look forward to seeing all the work that gets
Thank you, thank you. Before we get into this next item on the agenda, I just want to say that what I would like to see the committee do is to give the general operations a monthly report. And I say monthly, I hope it's short months. I'm hoping that we can get this done without it dragging out any further, because we just need to get it behind us and move on. And saying that, and now that's the scope, and we just need to come out tonight. I think we need to develop scope and a purpose of what we're here for the Brown home and the park, because that's part of it. As she read that in the will, Council, it's part of the Brown home is the park. So we just need to make sure we're doing all of it. Now, we'll open the floor for nominations for chairman.
I'd like to nominate Jeremy Mansfield.
All right. We have a motion to nominate Jeremy Mansfield. Any more?
Second. Oh,
Do
sorry.
we have any more motions?
I'd like to nominate Mr. Klein.
Mr. Klein, all right. Any more nominations for chairman? All righty. All folks in favor of Mr. Mansfield, raise your hand. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All righty, that pretty well solves that, Mr. Klein. I'm sorry.
Okay. It's a bad week for me being
All right.
vice chair.
For vice chairman?
I'd like to nominate David Klein for vice chairman.
All right. Are there any other nominations? Seeing that there's no other nominations, all in favor of Mr. Klein, raise your hand. All righty. It's unanimous, Mr. Klein.
1 for 4 ain't bad.
Jeremy, it's all yours.
All right, old business, there is none. New business, introduction of members. Jeremy Mansfield, used to represent this district. Part of my old district, got involved with the this house in 2019 with Mr. Latimer. Jim Latimer reached out to me and Mo and told us, don't forget about this house. And so, again, used to be my district, so that's why I've been involved with this since 2019.
Stephen King, I'm on the school board, District 5, and just very excited to be a part of this. Just the history of it, we have something here that connects us to the American Revolution, and that's unique. Not every county can say that, so I'm looking forward to participating in this. Thank you.
Tim Jones, County Commissioner, and I was involved from the first General Operations Committee that heard about this back in 2022 and been involved with it every step of the way.
That's it.
That's it. Keep it short.
Unusual.
Keep it short.
Kathy Stewart, School Board District 9. I'm kind of the new kid on the block, I think, so I'm gonna kind of sit back and take it all in for a couple of times here and see where we go, but I'm excited about it. I think it needs to be done.
David Klein, County Commission, District 6. I've been under that house, in the walls of that house, I've been in the attic of that house. I love that house, I love those old buildings, and I'm excited to get this ball rolling so that we can do the honor due to Mr. Brown and the Latimer family who built it.
I'm Chrissy Smith Miller, County Commissioner, District 24, and my family, the Sableys and the Latimers, were very good friends. I've known Jill my entire life, and my old family house, we had a historic home, and it got torn down without permission and broke all of our hearts. So it's very special to me because, you know, I just grew up, born and raised in Shackle Island, and it's really close and dear to my heart, and I'm excited to see what the future holds for this house.
Jim Latimer, along with Tommy and Diane, we're descended from the gentleman who bought the property, and his son built the house. Diane and myself are directly descended from him. Tommy is descended from another brother. There's a lot of history there. It's history that needs to be preserved. Where it's located on that campus, it can be a showpiece for Sumner County, for the history of Sumner County, and the kids can learn a lot by seeing that house and learning about, you know, what brought that house into being, you know, the people that were there, you know, the years that's passed by. There is a lot of history that can be taught to our children, and that should be taught to our children.
All right. Wes Wynn, I'm a County Commissioner, District 15, representing White House area. Really interested to see where this goes and the preservation of history. You know, last name Wynn, people are familiar with maybe Wynwood, but that's my family lineage is part of that. So deep roots here in Sumner County. So been here pretty much all my life, grown up here and lived in the Shackle Island community as well. So, you know, looking forward to what we can do with this property.
Ben Harris, Chairman of the General Operations Committee. I won't be here with you every month, but we are expecting a report every month to the General Op. But give you a little background on myself. I grew up out on Liberty Lane, Mr. Latimer. We grew up on the old Gwaltney farm out there, and we used to milk cows, raise tobacco. I know all about all that area out there. You didn't know that about me, did you, Jerry? But yes, and again, I would love to see us get this behind us, and I don't think we need to drag this out for 5 or 6 months. I think it needs to be done speedily, and the sooner the better. And I think everybody's here willing to get something going and get it behind us. Go ahead.
Mike McClard. Cindy and I have lived right beside Mr. Brown's property, which is now the Liberty Creek School property. We've been out there 34 years, going on 35 years. We first moved out there, we had a toddler, and for the first 4 years we were there, he thought Mr. Brown's cows were ours. They'd come up under the trees on a hot day, and you would know they were there when the wind shifted. I knew Mr. Brown. He was not a hugely social type person. But he would stop and talk to you, and most time you'd see him out in the fields with in his car or truck looking for his cows, and that of course now is the Liberty Creek school system, and we still live right there. We share a fence, but we kind of got involved in this when we had the terrible traffic situation down there, and we started coming to the meetings for that, and then heard about this, and then kind of got involved in that as well. I've been down around that house 100 times. Can't get there at the moment. Other than you can walk in. Everything's grown up and you can't get into it. But as Cindy said, you can barely see the house. You can see the roof from up on the hill, but coming down Hunters. But there's people that I talk to about this that go up and down Wolfpack all the time and have no idea the house is there, because it's just completely grown up. I have asked the mayor last year if he could go down there and have it mowed, and he said he turned that over to the school, but it's never been mowed. I went down there and mowed it this spring, but I can't even get down to it now. The weeds have grown up so high, I would have to have a tractor to get to it now. But anyway, very interested, and let's just get this done, and I agree with Commissioner Harris that we should be able to get started and get it done before we all get too old and die.
All right, we'll move on to item B. I guess I'll quickly answer the question. The purpose and scope of the Latimer Brown House Restoration Ad-Hoc that was originally started by GenOps back in May. We received the funds finally back in May, so that's why we started this Ad-Hoc originally. The purpose is pretty simple, is to oversee the construction and renovation of this home and restore it per the codicil with the funds that were left the county, $500,000, which $587,000 was what we ended up having. The county commission has appropriated $5,000, roughly $2,500 two different times to do a deconstruction that Mr. Klein was involved with Mr. Chris Coker, who has worked on a lot of historic homes in Sumner County, including the Bledsoe Fort, the Bridal House, Craig Font, Rosemont, a lot, and some other homes that I know I'm missing, including now the old Latimer homestead. But see, this is, I've had the legal print this out for you guys. I've emailed this out to the full commission last summer, emailed out to GenOps again as a refresher last month. Based on comments that were made, it seemed like some people hadn't exactly. I sent as much information as I could per your request, being back in September, as far as like the whole history from 23, 24, 25 of legislative GenOps. So all the documentation's there, the minutes, the agendas. Well, what we put together was this packet. Wanted you guys just to have it and look through it, new members, and is obviously I did a rendering kind of what this could look like based on period homes, just to give us a little bit of vision. First part of this document was kind of a fulfillment of our construction and renovation policy and where we're at, and kind of the intent of people asked about the purpose of the home, but it's definitely a county museum essentially, like all the other historic homes.
Mr. Chairman, I have one question and just a point of clarification. So on the purpose and scope, he says to oversee the construction and renovation of the home, this committee?
Well, it's to report to GenOps for that purpose, but what we did to pass up the GenOps was come up with this information as a sidebar to push in, and that's where we left it off. We got stalemated this summer because of TDEC stuff or Corps of Engineer stuff that we finally got back on track. But to answer Commissioner Harris's sentiment on want to get this done quickly, we were hoping we would have loved to get in spades in the ground August, September, and for the commission to move forward with it. But we've been just stopped for a long time. So the intent of this committee is to hopefully work with the architect in the RFQ process, reporting back to GenOps for whatever needs to happen. But I know that's the main purpose of what we were doing when we started this committee was to try to do all the groundwork to present to GenOps, which we've done as a preliminary, and get that rolling. So that's kind of the purpose and scope. It's just to be that liaison. I think later on down the line, if the Ad-Hoc wants to as well, as far as involving a lot of history discussed involving community members and involving historical societies and the Sumner County Museum. And I know we've had the ladies come from the Douglas Clark House who manages that as a full-time employee. That's kind of like down the line, but I think that's not exactly what we started this originally. I don't see that as the purpose and scope of this ad hoc at the moment. It's like, how can we get shovels in the ground and get stuff happening and push that on up to Gen Ops to make that happen. So that's.
I'll just ask the Chairman Gen Ops just for the clarification, because I was under the impression that we would make recommendations to Gen Ops committee, and the reports would be our progress towards those recommendations.
Correct, and that's what this was about. I mean, that's what this is.
Okay.
I mean, we've done all that.
I just want to make sure that was clear, because what you said it originally was that you guys would run the project, and I don't think that's inaccurate.
I did not say we would run the project. I said the goal is to work on that as a project. So
Okay.
that's not what I said.
My mistake. If I misheard, I apologize.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure that listening check for me and just clarify, because anybody else had maybe misheard as well.
Commissioner Jones.
Do we have to have a stated scope written down, or is it just kind of a general understanding that all of us have here at the table?
I don't think we don't need a written scope. I mean,
Okay.
we've had the stated scope of what it is, and obviously it's to make recommendations to the Gen Ops committee. And
Guide the
basically,
contractor,
at
guide
this
the
point,
architect.
we've done the yeoman's work here with this document, as much as giving it a good foundation. The question's going to come into what we're really waiting on now for this RFQ process is that next week, the finance department, they're working through a scorecard right now with the RFQ bids, and they're potentially going to award next week the contract for the RFQ to work with the architect, who will then sit down with all parties involved. So I assume this committee and Gen Ops, but I assume we'll start this committee with working through taking what we've done and how can the architect of all that work, because and what the architect can apply to that and what he needs to add on with the civil site design, for access to the home. All these things are covered here, but, the state law requires us to have that architect for those things, and the architect will be involved with civil site design engineer for doing the roadway, whatever, up to it, and, some of that landscaping type stuff that has to happen. So that is,
Civil engineer.
yeah.
Good. No, that's all.
Commissioner Wynn?
The RFQ, is there a copy of that somewhere?
No, I've asked for it and they've not released it yet. I did ask for it, but they're wanting to share that with, they did not want to release that yet. They're having a third party actually come in to help them outside of the finance department. Couldn't get an answer from finance today when I was inquiring about that, but I was hoping to have that. But they've not awarded it, and so I don't know if they did not release it.
Okay, yeah, because bringing all the parties together to review everything and talk about everything, to the RFQ, if we're getting ready to award something that this committee hasn't said, yes, that's what we actually want to do, the cart is way in front of the horse at this point. So I just put that out there for this committee to hear. Obviously, whatever the will of this body is, if you decide to move forward, make a recommendation to General Ops, by all means, do that as well. But we haven't even had a real first discussion about purpose, direction, any of that stuff. But then there's an RFQ that's out there hanging, getting ready to be awarded.
Yeah, I mean, the purpose is to renovate the house. I mean, that's the goal. Is that's what the codicil was for. That was the money was left for, and that's the goal of the county. That's the initial purpose. And so the RFQ process is out there. Finance is it's not in our purview anymore as far as the county. It's the finance department doing that portion next. But they've gone through the legal requirements. So I guess this is a statutory issue at this point. And so they've gone through that process of putting an RFQ out there. They've had architect firms submit, reviewing those, and going to award if they, obviously meet the qualifications. If not, it would have to go back out for, another RFQ process.
Tell me if I'm right or wrong. This is more than just the Brown home. This is because in the resolution that was passed, the 2404-13, April the 15th of 24, it says the William Brown and Martha Brown Park
Was created.
was created.
Correct, we did
So
create that.
this is including the park that surrounds the Brown home, correct?
I mean, depends on what you call a park. I mean, a park is a bench on a field. I mean, but technically this is a park already. So, yeah, I mean, we've established the park.
Yeah.
Commissioner Jones?
Just so that everybody can kind of get past that part, I think we all recognize that the funds to get the house to a presentable condition is going to be the challenge, and anything left over from that can beautify the area around the house, which has already been designated a park. So I don't think there's any concern about there being a park. The question about the boundaries of the park will be determined someday with leftover funds, more funds, whatever, but that's not the scope of this committee because we're limited on funds. The centerpiece of the park has to be the focus point for this committee, since a park has already been established. And then it's like prioritization. The main part of it is the centerpiece. And then, of course, the park that surrounds it already will also be included if funds are there. But we also got to consider the maintenance of the house and the park. So it's about prioritizing the limited funds we have. That's all I got to say.
So what's the purpose of the house? So what is the house going to be used for? I know I haven't reviewed all the videos from the committee meeting, but I've asked several of the committee members, the previous members, what's the purpose and use of the house, the intended use of the house? And I don't know that I ever got an answer, so I'll ask that openly for everybody. What is that, and has that ever been decided and determined?
Yes. Commissioner Jones?
I could answer that quickly. I mean, to be simple about it, it's the purpose of this committee is to fix the house. What is done with the house was to be the centerpiece of a park. We got to get to phase one. That would be phase one. It is of no concern what gets done with it, because that's not going to be affected by what we do in this committee, which is fixing the house and making it whole again. So I don't see that that's really a focus of this committee. What gets done with the house, maybe at a later date.
I'll answer your question.
Maybe at a later
Well,
date.
and it's in here. If you read it, it's in here as well. So it's in this document, what the purpose. So the intent that we had talked about, for many months previously is obviously we thought the best use was like a community museum, just like the Bridal House. The county was given that home. The county permanently maintains that home. The county has given control of that home to maintain it to a Friends Up group. And they're the ones that maintain that. They don't maintain it, the county still maintains it. They have access to it. They have meetings there, they have historical gatherings there. And so that was our vision that we talked about, the use of the home. Because one thing that it was determined with Mr. Coker, the contractor who did I'll say deconstruction for lack of better words, with Mr. Klein, is we're not adding to the footprint of the home. We're not creating anything new. We're not taking away from the footprint of the home. We're literally leaving the home structure in place and renovating as is, because everything in the structurally from the home is from the 1790s to 1830s. And that includes the roof ridge line. Obviously, that there was wouldn't have been an enclosed porch on the backside of the house. It would have been an open kind of patio porch at the time. Mr. Klein can correct me if I'm wrong. And so that's really the only area that's modernized, where obviously if you're going to, like the Bridal House, you'd have a bathroom in there and maybe like a little small meeting room if you want to put a kitchenette or whatever for a group to have a meeting, a party, or a historical society meets there monthly or whatever, or school kids come in and obviously have meetings. But the intent is for it to function as a county museum. I mean, because it's a historical home from the 1790s. I mean, it's not going to be anything but. I don't think anybody would try to say it's anything but. It's a county museum. And so we have the Douglas Clark House in Lower Station Camp, which is a county museum. We have the Bridal House, which is like the county museum, and functions as that for small things. We've gotten in the weeds before as far as like what kind of, I'll say, signage and wayfaring in there. It's like the Douglas Clark House. It might be foam core, like printed out, like here's a historical timeline you could do with nice track lighting. And there's a lot of different ways, and that's would be covered under, once you get to actually picking a contractor, getting past RFQ and getting that into the nitty gritty of details. But again, we're not even there yet. We pushed to it. I mean, we've got the horse ready to pull the cart. We just had to back up and throw somebody in. State law required us to pull an architect in on it, which is not necessary. We've been told and didn't feel like it was necessary based on the construction experts that are involved. But that's just county government were required, so we did have to back that horse way back up, in the sense that we pushed as hard and fast as we could to get something out there for the commission and for the community with the previous Ad-Hoc, the previous jobs. So the intent and purpose that I think everybody wants is I'll say quote unquote county museum. What that looks like, I don't know. Access to it full time. The Douglas Clark House was done through a grant, and the requirement for that grant was you had to have a full-time county employee to run that. It was the intent of the previous Ad Hoc committee and the previous Gen Ops committee not to go that route and to create another high-level cost of bureaucracy, for lack of a word. Not that there's nothing wrong with that, but there's so many hoops you have to go through versus like, we know we have limited funds. Can we do it for cheaper? That'd be great. And are there artisans in the community that can volunteer their time? I've had an electrician reach out to me that lives in Town saying he would donate time to work on it for free. It's fantastic. Are there cost-saving measures that we can have that on the house, and Commissioner Klein can speak to this as far as the budget, we basically try to pad it as much as possible and still had like $60,000 left over in the budget. And this includes architect fees, what was estimated, talking to architects in this area that have worked on these types of homes. And so it's in the package on the second page. I didn't have a number, my apologies. So just as best of an estimation we can get for everybody, for full transparency, we've done it all as transparent as possible through all the meetings, and worked with Mr. Coker. Has done a great job helping us, even on his own time, because he wants to see historical homes restored. And so it's been, I don't know how Mr. Klein found him. I'd never heard of Mr. Coker until I guess last June or May when we appropriated the money. But that's kind of, you would see is the intent. But again, you're limited in what the intent is because it's a historical home. It is also a limited footprint with a limited budget in order to bring it up to accessible modern standards and restore the beauty of the logs and the chinking and everything else. So that was the goal, stated intended goal, so which again you'll be able to read in here just from June. Again, this was a document from June, so 6 months ago almost. So that's just kind of where we're left off with that, I'll say, not where we're at, but where we left off. But again, everybody can just, we can all be ADD about it, like the squirrel. I can get distracted like everybody else. But I guess the purpose and scope is how can we work with finance and the architect and with Gen Ops and the community, but to restore the home. But that's the first step to me is restoring the home, which is a narrow scope. I mean, it's not. It doesn't. I don't think you need community input for that. You don't need to. It's just like, hey, you're limited. You want a home that looks period and historic. This is what it looked like. For all intents and purposes, and this is keeping the red roof on it. Obviously, it didn't have a red metal roof back in 1790s or 1820s. So, just what can we do using modern standards to renovate a house to make it look historic? Back to its glory and be accessible. So that's, and it's probably a longer explanation you're looking for, but that's kind of the history of stuff we've talked about, soup to nuts on use. How quickly can we get there with limited funds? And so that's our goal. It's let's just whatever happens to 85 acres. If the county wants to put $2 to $3 million to build a park, the county can do that. That's not what this is. This is $500,000 is left for a house as a centerpiece of a park, undefined. And so what we know we can define is a house that has $500,000 that was left to restore and maintain this house as the centerpiece of that. So that's why that's the purpose and scope, in my opinion, of this Ad Hoc, to report to Gen Ops, to report to the commission, is how quickly can we get that done to make this a beautiful centerpiece that whoever's gonna run it, whoever's gonna do whatever with it, who cares? It just, as long as it's accessible and it's actually not gonna fall down or catch fire tomorrow or get knocked over by a January tornado. So I think that's everybody, and I don't think there's anybody who disagrees with that in the community. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's my opinion, and that's the work that we've done towards this. And even with, just preliminary crew drawings in here that Commissioner Klein, drew up for us. And
So, Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry if I interrupt. The architect, are they just making drawings for us? Is that what that's for?
I'm going to defer to Commissioner Klein.
The architect will meet with the stakeholders. And what the previous committee had decided definitely we did not want to do was something like Douglas Clark. What we did want to do was something like the Bridal House. So the Bridal House is managed by the Friends of the Bridal House, and they have events periodically there and open the place up. It is an historic museum. So the intent is to do something very similar with a group called the Friends of the Latimer House or Latimer Brown House.
Yeah. So the architect.
The architect, what he is going to do is he is going to meet with the stakeholders and apply architectural advice for how to renovate the thing as close to what it originally was. Now understand that this house is maybe the most unique house in the county or the state in that it was built in the 1790s, and then it had an addition done in the 1830s, which is different architecture, different framing techniques and stuff. It's really a plethora of interesting architectural design.
Yeah.
And so that, in my opinion, I didn't realize that at first till Chris Coker and I started digging into it. He would have been here tonight, but his wife is very sick. So when he started looking at the dating of this stuff, it's like, wow, this thing's a gold mine because it's so unique. We don't have anything that started out as a log cabin and then had an addition built to it that early on. The Latimers must have been fairly well off. So the architect will consult with us and any other interested parties to come up with the very best plan, and then he will come up with drawings. He will come up with engineering drawings or architectural drawings to get this thing as close to what it looked like in the 1830s.
Gotcha. So you said stakeholders a couple times. Who are the stakeholders?
Well, I don't know who all the stakeholders are, but I would expect this group is stakeholders.
I didn't know if it had already been defined. That's all I was asking the question.
No.
So if it hasn't been.
And I would
okay.
think that the Friends of group, since they're going to maintain it for an extended period, like the Friends of the Bridal House are with that house, that because of what they might want to use it for, we don't know what that is at this point. It would, it may tailor what the architect does as far as design.
Commissioner Jones? It's my understanding, just to answer that question, what's the architect for? That was the question. Chris Coker had the skills to go in there and just renovate this house, bring it back, make it whole. He knows how to do period pieces and make them right, but because of the cost of the project, we have to have an architect sign off on all the work to make sure that it is up to snuff for what it is. It's something that government requires. It's not to change anything or do anything different than what you see in there. It's to sign off on it and put his stamp of approval on it so that we can say it's a government project.
There's already a plan then?
No.
What the architect is for, yeah, the plan is in here. I mean, for what the house is to restore it to what it was. It's already here. It's been there for months.
You don't need an architect to do this work, Wes, is basically what it comes down to. It's really an extra cost and burden that's unnecessary.
But just like the fire, just like the volunteer fire department places, they
it is. Well,
they had to be engineered buildings instead of
But
pole
it
barn
really-
buildings.
It's a renovation of a home that a contractor normally would do without an architect, and it's no different. And
Because
this
of
has
the
been-
price.
And it's been done on other historic homes throughout Sumner County, some of which were not government involved, and there was no architect involved at all, because it's not required or needed, in a sense, and that's basically. but
We need his stamp.
it's-
We need his
It
signature,
is, that's.
his license.
That's why we did the work, but we had to back up because we were forced to get an architect. And so the architect is to sign off on, what a renovation and construction policy, but what's gonna happen now is, now the architect is chosen, then the architect is obviously gonna look at the work that this ad hoc has done, and, working with our project manager in finance, and then gonna work, when Commissioner Klein says stakeholders, work with the ad hoc or gen ops on what is that,
You have a, on your shoulder. Didn't want that to interrupt the meeting.
so it, you lost my train of thought. What was it?
What the architect was for.
Working with the stakeholders. Well, what the next process is what has to happen statutorily is the RFQ, that's the, but this thing. The RFQ, when we pick the architect, then he's gonna work with our project manager to finance to come up with a RFP, the request for proposal. Then that's gonna go out to bid. And then whoever wants to bid on contracting this out to do the construction or renovation work on a historic home will then go through the RFP process. So we're trying to speed up as fast as possible. A lot of it's just come down to, Commissioner, just government. And I mean, so if we need to meet every week, we'll call a meeting, I'll call a meeting. If we can speed this up, I'll be happy to. And so, so we don't have to keep dragging this on.
No, yeah, and I'm not trying to slow anything down, I'm just trying to make sure I understand everything correctly. So I don't see a plan in here defined, but I see a drawing of the house, it kind of gives dimensions.
Well, what do you want for a plan? Why don't you define what you want to see for a plan?
No, I'm just asking.
Look on
because
page 3.
It's mentioned that there's a plan, I
Look
see a
on-
budget.
Look on page 3.
Well, budget is
So-
a plan.
Mr. Chairman, if I could,
Okay.
if I could. So these are all the things that need to be fixed or brought whole again to bring it back to the period piece that it is.
Okay.
Without changing the
This is
footprint or
what the
changing
architect
anything
is
about it.
reviewing and saying.
Well,
thumbs up,
so when it
thumbs
comes
down.
time to do these projects, he's gonna look at, like, say a window needs to be fixed or whatever like that, and
Yeah, we got to.
and our contractor wants to do it this way. Our engineer may say, you can't do it that way, you have to do it this way, and, fix it to the way that he can sign off on it, rather than just have some guy come in there and cut this way or that way, or put this material in there or that material. He's got to say, yes, that's okay, you can do it that way. He's the stamp of approval for the repair list, the hit list that we have here, all the things that need to be done to bring the house whole.
I just, Mr. Klein was saying we didn't have, and you're saying so, I'm just like, what are we
No, that's
looking at?
basically
So,
what
okay.
the architect is for.
Can you clarify, Mr. Klein,
Yeah, what-
your statements?
what-
Can you clarify the process?
What
of
Chris
this?
Coker and I came up with was, I took dimensions of the building, and that's what this floor plan is. That's all it is a floor plan that gives us dimensions.
It's the current plan. Yes.
This was a very conservative budget that he and I came up with, and what we thought it would take. We went as far as the money allowed us that was allocated to do the exploratory investigation. And so, at that point, the state is requiring us to have an architect, as Jeremy was saying. So that's where we're at today. We haven't finished exploring. The architect is gonna have to do that with the help of somebody. And it may be Chris Coker, it may be somebody else. So there is not a plan. There's not a set of drawings to rebuild this house to, not at this point. And there may not be. He may just have a book of specifications and maybe a few details. We don't know until, as your house cannot be used for commercial uses because it's built to a different standard. And the first thing he's gonna say is, what are you gonna use this for? And we're gonna say, same thing as the bridal house. I don't think the bridal house had an architect involved at all.
No.
And so I think that might have been because the previous owner had done whatever work, and so he may have handed it over as a finished project to the county, so the county didn't have to do any renovation. That wasn't where we were at here, because it sat so long. Mr. Brown lived in it until the day he died. If we'd have done something with it at that time, we might not have been going through this exercise at all.
Probably not.
Okay, all right. I'm gonna be quiet.
Okay.
Yeah,
Any
so
other
thank you.
questions?
Thank you.
So that is the intent and scope, but to Commissioner Harris's point, we want to do as fast as possible and fast as allowable, but I agree, I wish this was done yesterday so we could just be done with it and have it as a centerpiece, but there's a lot of things that I think this ad hoc could do as this process gets on. Once we get our architect, once we get the contractor, once they get that process, then we could evolve into, I think, talking to the Sumner County Museum people, or like getting feedback from the Douglas Clark House curator, like what would be good ideas for signage and wayfaring, or we start gathering historical stuff, working with the family members. I know that, Mr. Latimer here, Jim Latimer, I mean, they meet every year 30 to 50 people at the Ocana Center. It'd be great if next year they can meet at the Latimer House. They're literally their family homestead, have their family reunion. They do it every October. But I think there's a lot of people that give, there's little stuff down the line, like period furniture, like, we did that with the Bridal House when I was in the previous county commission, but we weren't involved in all that stuff. They sold this stuff, made about $100,000, used that to fix up a little bit. There was no architect involved, and they just put period pieces in it. But the county commission was not involved with the Bridal House in 2019, and I was on the commission. We never voted on anything, we never talked about anything. It just happened. So I can't explain anything else to you on that one. But this is, to me, an apples to apples comparison on the home and use, and I think that's discussions we can have down the line, and like furniture and artwork and blah, 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 blah. Acts, what kind of uses, and like, let's have a, like
cannon
Rock
out
Castle,
front.
like let's bring a cannon, let's shoot it off and have a frontier reenactment like they do at Bledsoe Fort. I don't know,
Future
that's community uses, I don't feel that that's part of scope of this ad hoc, in my opinion. We just want to get it done, but I think we could incorporate that once we get it done, of have some period experts come in and show us something of options that we can then present to that Gen Ops committee. But the purpose of the ad hoc also was to bring out a Gen Ops, so Gen Ops wasn't 4 hours every first Monday, and just so we could, because we were spending like 2 hours a month with 30 minutes to 45 minutes of city and citizen comments, and an hour and a half, 2 hours of discussion just on this item every month for a year. And so it got just way too much. And so our goal is to take that burden away from Gen Ops to present, hey, here's what the goal is, here's where we are, here's the objective, 3-minute update, and we don't waste your time in Gen Ops. That's how I see it, but you can correct me if I'm wrong. Mr. McClard.
Yeah, I would just, I don't know the proper step, but we really need to push to get it cleaned up around it. That would cut down on my fear of somebody going in there on a cold night and building a fire in the fireplace.
Well, it's locked down right now, so.
Yeah, well, it's boarded up, but that back door's been kicked in before, so it could very easily. It does need to be cleaned up, and there needs to be an access down to it. That's gonna have to be done.
Sure.
At some point.
I think that's gonna be
architect.
taken care of as soon as this process, this RFQ and RFP process, because they're going to have access, and we've already got approval from the Corps of Engineers and TDEC to have the pathway cleared to there. All that will start rolling, once we see this process through. It is secure right now. I know it wasn't for a long time, but it is secure now. So that will be the next thing to happen.
Yeah. So
Sounds like a plan.
Well, I don't want to keep beating a dead horse, belabor it, but wanted to have you guys to have this printout, read it, we can ask questions. As far as procedure and order, we had decided on the previous ad hoc, the third Thursday worked well at 5:30, which is what we're in, the third Thursday. Without objection, I'd like to keep it at that, but then obviously call meetings as needed, and if we need to meet every week, we can try to meet. If something comes up, we'll try to do that, whatever needs to happen. Commissioner Jones.
I'm good with that. Can we likewise just call a meeting off if we don't need to have one? So it's there for the third Thursday, but if we don't need it because there's no item, we just
If there's
call
no
it
action
off.
to be taken, yes.
I'm fine
We
with
won't, we can just go ahead and set it down there, but we can cancel it if we don't need to meet. Or
I'm
we
fine with
can-
that, and I'm also
or we can
willing to
change
come
it.
weekly if needed to.
Or we can
'cause I wanna
change
get
it to
done.
speed it up and meet to just an architect, hey, we got a plan, let's meet. We need to do it this week, so we don't wait till next.
Either's fine.
Commissioner Klein.
We do have money in the budget for a security chain link fence around it, but we cannot get our hands on that money yet until the RFP happens.
I don't have an answer to that question. Well, I mean, the county commission can do whatever we want to with 13 votes to do security, so we can.
What is it, the RFP, what are we waiting on that?
You have to have the RFQ done before the RFP goes out.
When can we get that took care of?
Well, we have to wait for the RFQ to come in, which is next week, for they have to award the RFQ to the architect, and the architect has to
So
work
we
with us.
gotta wait for the architect before they can even make access to the house, Stephen, and clean it
I don't
up?
think we do, but you asked about RFP, so that's rewarding to the contract. This is going with the finance department, David Long, told me.
So what is in the what's in the proposed RFP? Are we including fencing or no?
Well, that's the confusing part of this whole thing, because
What's unconfusing?
We basically
If
wrote
we
the
need
RFP.
fencing,
Yeah,
let's just get fencing.
we're being told that to get an access to that house now, we have to have civil engineering drawings for a driveway.
No. I thought Don Long is gonna go out there and just stake off where the spot is.
Is he?
They've
So
already
to answer
said
the
that they would
question,
do
if there's
it.
something we can do in Genox to speed up the process, then yes, the answer is yes. As far as like a gravel access drive, a culvert, and put a fence around it, the answer is yes.
Yes.
There's nothing stopping us from doing that.
Well, then why can't we go out there and clean the place up then?
We can, but
we've-
I mean, do I have authority to do that, Ben? No. I mean, is Tim by
Does
himself?
our committee have authority?
I was gonna say, does
No, the
Genox,
Camp County Commission would have, unless the county mayor or the school board wants to do it voluntarily, but the county commission would have to vote to do it, to take the action, so it just
Well,
depends.
let's just do it.
Put it on the agenda next month.
Yeah, we'll just put it on the agenda and yeah.
I would love to see that happen. We've tried, but
Well, I mean,
So,
it just, hey, I'm with you, but it feels like everybody's been fighting us on it, and we just can't get anything done.
I
The
think
simplest
there's
thing.
just been some, never mind, you know what it's been. Go ahead.
All right.
So let's, if there's something we can do to get access gravel, to only go ahead and, we're gonna put a chain link fence around it. But I guess we need to figure out what that boundary is.
well,
Commissioner?
that's what I was gonna say, is can we have somebody from the General Operations Committee or this committee to contact Don Long, get them to go ahead and stake off that boundary
Mr.
there?
McCall always has an answer for you. Go ahead, Mike.
I sent Mr. Long a message the other day, and he had a conversation with Mr. Klein about getting access down to Wolfpack. So I asked him, had what had transpired on that, and he responded. I met with the road superintendent on site a couple of months ago. So we're that far down, and
Back when
nothing.
we had that meeting, yeah.
And nothing has happened. Once they have a contractor selected, he can get that work done, and I'll take care of the bush hogging and mowing. But we're 2 months down the road and nothing has been done.
So I'll take that as an action item, and I'll work with Don, and we'll get something going. So I'm happy to take that.
Yeah, and just to let you know, was after we had that phone call with TDEC,
And meeting, yeah, with Don and
Don was
T-Dick.
going to take the lead on this and get us an access.
It was already mapped out by T-Dick and the Corps, so they know where it is. He was just gonna stake it, so we knew where it was, and somebody could physically just drive through there.
Yeah.
Bush hogging, truck, whatever, gravel, whatever.
Is the access that's there,
And get
It's
us
just
that.
about
that
pulling
was
trigger.
there, is it?
Not fully accessible, no, because the school, when they built the elementary school, they cut off the original driveway, half of it. So
Okay.
the back half, the access to so it's changed, and so.
So the reason for
See
me
it.
asking
You can
that
see
is
it.
if
You
it's just a
open-
matter of graveling it and
And you'll see that here.
grading and graveling, I mean,
So this is the house.
yeah.
So the house is situated here. The driveway cut across like this at an angle, but now there's all the power stuff for the schools there. So now we gotta come straight out, and there, if you go out there, you'll see it's sort of mowed, but they've been driving, and you can see an access.
See that
So
right there?
So look,
It's a huge ditch right
That's
there.
what Tony was gonna do.
Yeah, there's a huge ditch drop off right there. So if you put a culvert and then pour some gravel over it, that handles the access. Anything else is just staking off where to mow, where not to mow, because there is an existing old gravel driveway to this road. and redefining
It could
where
be-
that is between here and
Right
here
there's where it should be.
is, you can't hardly
their
see it
rendering.
because they've bermed that up for the road
That's how
so
they got it
much, you
scored.
lost the
And it
gravel.
existed there, but it cut
But
over there.
Yeah.
if you
So
put
we're
a
just-
a
right
pipe
here
there
is where all we're
and then
in
gravel
no
there,
buffer zone,
all
and that's
this
where
is still
boom.
drivable.
See the south side,
And,
south side?
I mean, if you want to walk it from the sidewalk, it's walkable.
So I think for this one, I'll work with these guys to get it going. Budgetarily,
It's
though, I
right
think we're gonna have to
there.
approve
That's
something
the
with
old
the
one right
commission,
there.
like we covered Toby's expenses, so
Yeah.
just understand that. you know.
It requires a culvert,
It- it
filter, and
came to
there
the
are
street
two
and
big
open
old
the buffer zone.
mounds of dirt right there that could be.
But then we redefined the buffer
And
zone.
that's when Don had to get together with Toby.
Yeah.
And handling access, and nothing happened.
Well, if we haven't approved any funds, it's not surprising
Yeah.
we're not, because somebody's gotta pay for it, right?
Well, right,
Yeah.
and ultimately, the county,
I remember
well, it's gonna come out of the fund, I would
an aerial
imagine.
photo that showed the,
But Toby.
showed the old
Toby's
access.
got all kinds of.
That might be it right there.
Like
This
there's-
is, here's another
there's
question I
on
have for you.
Water.
This is technically the county's property.
109. Correct. He could pull out, you know, an
So
18
why
inch
can
or
we not-
24 inch, and they got gravel.
Why can't
Well,
we
there
not
was
go
some-
ahead and?
So hold on,
There was TDEC
Bring
and-
this conversation, so.
there was, so we didn't know, correct me if I'm wrong, but we didn't know what areas were accessible according to TDEC and the Army Corps of Engineers.
I
Is
get that
correct?
part. I
Yeah.
get that.
And now
There
that
was
we know
discussion
that,
about moving the buffer zone, but all
Right.
that got redefined and, or I should say defined. Everybody knows where the area is, but it needs to be marked out, so if anybody just drives off in there to go looking, they don't drive off of, into the buffer zone. They just needed it staked out, and that's what Don knew.
If we already own it,
Yeah,
why can we not maintain it?
it's the buffer zone.
We can, there's nothing stopping us, but that's just, that's under the county mayor's purview.
Because he maintains county buildings or for county
Then we'll
property.
just have to bring it up at the general and ask him why we're not.
well, and I think for a while, we didn't know where the buffer was. It was kind of a question.
It was after the meeting we had with TDEC that was defined.
It's gonna be on the agenda too.
So
Well, we've clearly defined the buffers, we've clearly defined the areas now, the TDEC, Army Corps of Engineer have all green lighted us, we know where we're going. Now it's just a matter of,
So there's a progression of things that needs to happen. So first is staking off, and then we gotta get it mowed, and then we gotta get the gravel put down. And while all that
yeah, for any
stuff-
construction action, before we do construction, that's all gotta happen, yeah. So,
Yeah, all that's
but-
gonna happen, but then also too, we have to approve funds to pay for gravel, corrugate.
Correct, out of this kitty, but this all, we were ready this summer to present that, but it all got stopped at the beginning of August with this TDEC stuff and ground to a halt. And that's kind of where we left.
That's when they put up the riparian buffer signs
the
all over.
staking, the mowing, and the graveling, all that can be done at the same time, because there is no questions on those items. Somebody could go out there literally in front of the gravel truck and say, stop here, go here, and stake it off as they're going down there.
I can
and-
see the
and mowing
staking
it.
and mowing, like the gravel's, it's gonna cost somebody something, so I can see.
Yeah,
the
oh yeah,
sanitation,
the
so
money part, yes.
until
I'm
we
talking
can
about the physical
approve
work.
funds, I think
Yes.
that the gravel's probably gonna come after that.
Yeah, yeah,
but
yeah.
We'll work through it.
But the
So-
mowing of the property and stuff
Yeah.
like that, there's no reason why
There's some things
around the
that
house
we
couldn't have
can
been
get
mowed.
done, yeah.
Because we all know that the house isn't in the buffer zone, so it could have been mowed.
Correct.
Currently, it's what, chest, neck high?
Well, I mowed
Something
it.
like that.
I mowed it in the spring.
I know, but-
Until it was,
let me
too-
ask-
it got
I've
too
seen
grown
it.
up and I can't do it now.
Tim.
Let me ask one more stupid question. Why can we not get with Toby at the highway department? Once we get all this, what did you call it, the RF?
The RFQ, request for
RFQ,
qualifications.
we get that
process.
and get with Toby to see if he can't come in and cut the road back through there.
Well, that's what we discussed with Don Long, about doing, and get with Toby to doing that, so, I mean, it'd be great.
Why are we?
I think, I don't see
I
why.
think
we
it
can't
needs to
do
be
that.
driven
If
by
we
Gen
own-
Ops,
if we
not
own
by
the
here.
If we own the property, why can we not use what we've got to fix what we need?
In short, Mr.
I mean,
Chairman,
we've been trying to do that. We just
in short, Mr. Chairman,
can't get anywhere.
the easy answer to that, Ben, is where were we gonna get the funding from? If everybody's excited about this project, we get the funding from wherever we wanna get it from by 13 votes.
But if you get the county highway department to do it, all you're really doing is paying them for the materials.
Exactly.
You're not paying them for the labor.
Exactly, but we've got to, we
Yeah.
got
And that's- we discussed this
momentum
previously.
going right now, and we may be able to get that done now at that point. back then, we didn't have that. And so
Yes,
if we can make that happen through general operations, that would be great.
We discussed that this summer, but again, all that came to because of the TDEC thing. I mean, just we talked about getting Toby involved, putting the culvert out there, you know, putting the tile, but the gravel cut in and approaching him, but then we just got,
I got you.
it just got put on hold. And now we're finally putting jump paddles in this
We're
thing.
gonna drive that
Mr. Klein.
through
And the big thing that Toby's gonna have to do is a drive apron. You know, he's gotta.
Cut the
have a
curb.
Cut-out curb.
Yeah.
And build a drive apron.
That's
Or
nothing
for the time being, we jump the curb.
Well, that's gonna have to happen anyway because, you know, it's gonna have to have a gravel parking lot there, you know, for visitors.
That's
And
nothing to
and
stop us.
That's actually, TDEC saw that in the plan and they actually included that in their drawing, so.
But that's nothing to stop us because
No.
we've been told that people lay a piece of small pipe up against that curb and drive over that as a construction entrance all the time. That could be done at a later date or whatever. Yeah, it won't take no time. So if we could drive that through Gen Ops, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, Toby could throw a 4-inch PVC and then put some temp asphalt over it. We've got it.
So we giving you some homework? Homework assignment?
Yeah, we'll be all over it like mayonnaise.
All right.
Like what?
Mayonnaise.
All right, well, any other questions? I think there's nothing to report, but I will report back to Gen Ops, Mr. Chairman, in December. But hopefully, we'll hear something back from Finance next week that we can share and find out information on the RFQ process. So, but if everybody's good, the third Thursday, 5:30, a standing tentatively, but we can cancel if needed. But just basically, we'll play it or call a special call. So I'll make a motion officially for that to happen.
Second.
And just as needed, but we'll keep it for the third Thursday at 5:30, but cancel if we don't have anything to do or schedule meetings. So, got a motion, got a second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, one more motion.
Motion to adjourn.
All in favor say aye.
All right.
All right, thank you guys.